What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. It is Wednesday evening. You know exactly what that means. We are live for the next hour right here on the channel. I got 3 segments to get into today. Hope you guys are having a great week. Happy February, by the way. We got through January all together. So proud of us for being able to do that. Coming up first, today's news and rumors. Jesse Minter has made a ton of coaching staff news and moves. One that I agree with, I'm excited about. One that I maybe don't agree with too much. Probably the first move that Jesse Minter has made that I have a little backlash on. Okay, we're going to get into that on our first segment. Also going to touch on a little bit Nnamdi Madubuike news and rumors on his injury status. Then we're going to talk mock draft. I got my second one. This one with a Blockbuster Mark Andrews trade. Make sure you guys stick with us to hear what that is. And then up last, our Live Ravens mailbag. Your questions, my answers right here on the channel. Cannot wait to see what you guys got for me for this week. It is my favorite segment every single week, and I appreciate you guys who always get those questions in. We are about 5 days removed from the hiring of Declan Doyle as the offensive coordinator, but this is our first time hanging out live since that hiring of Declan Doyle as the OC. I want you to grade it for me down below, A, B, C, D, or F. I, for one, am going to give the Declan Doyle hiring an A-. Okay? That's how I am going to give that grade. Gage, I want you to grade Declan Doyle right now down below. Grade the hire of it. A, B, C, D, or F.
All right, I would say a B+.
Okay.
I really like it, but the thing that has me a little weary on making it in the A range is the fact is you never called plays before.
Yes, that is fair.
That's the only thing that gets me a little weary, but the fact that he has an offensive support to help him out on the offensive side of the coaching staff, I think that boosts my confidence a little bit.
Yep, 100%. A lot of great support on that coaching staff, and the fact that he's gotten to learn under Sean Payton and Ben Johnson, 2 great offensive minds, 2 very different offensive minds at that as well. I think it's a great move, going out and taking a risk, getting a young guy. I think it's refreshing. I asked you guys to also grade Jesse Minter so far. 84% say A, 15% say B, 1% says C. I, for one, would be in that A category. I think his first 2 weeks in Baltimore have been unbelievable, Gage.
I cannot agree more. I mean, the fact that he came out running right out of the gates, like he knew what he wanted to do. He didn't act all weary about being in this new position. The fact that he came in knowing what he wanted to do and how he wanted his team to kind of operate, I think adds more excitement to Baltimore fans going into next season.
Drippy grades the Declan Doyle hire a B-. Dylan a B. Gabriel an A-. Occupy a B+. Jay Williams A++++++++++. Lisa gives it an A+. Bierman gives it a B+. Papa Shook gives it an A-. Prince D. Thomas gets it a B+. So everybody kind of feeling in the same range from A- to B+. You guys know what I'm giving an A+. Our brand new merch that has been on the store for just about 2 weeks continues to fly off the shelves. It is our Minter is Coming hoodies. $45, that's all it costs to rep the first time we've ever had merch on this channel. Chatsports.com/Minter. Gage is putting that link in the chat right now. Y'all can click on it. They got the hoodies. We also got the t-shirts. If you want to check out on both of them, then you could do that and save $10 on your order. Okay, if you need the link, it's down below in the chat, chatsports.com/Minter. T-shirts, hoodies, both. Get the sweet design, man. We have Arnold working really, really hard behind the scenes here at Chat Sports, our chief product officer. He is, the guy that's pumping out all this stuff, and it's the first thing we've ever had on the channel. So take advantage of it right now. Again, that link is down below in the comment section in that chat. So click on it, get yourself a hoodie, and hey, I'll make you this deal. Next 5 people will get them. We'll get shout-outs on our next live show. Okay? I'm setting the deal. Next 5 get a shout-out. Hey, we got a mailbag coming up later. Use hashtag Ravens in the chat or super chat to get on today's Q&A. I already see a couple of questions getting in there from Papa Shook, Gabriel, Nintendo Master just got one in there. If you guys want to get a question on the show, use hashtag Ravens. If you want to guarantee your question gets on the show, then you got to super chat in. That way we make sure we don't miss it, okay? 100% certainty you get on the show. This will come out on Saturday. We'll pair it up with a segment on some trade rumors, so it'll be a joint one. But still, we're going to get to all those questions, or as many as we can get to. And if your question does not get in, don't blame me. Blame Gage. It's his fault. Do you think Minter's been doing a great job so far? If you do, hit that thumbs up button, like today's video. We have 20 likes. I need 30 more, okay? I need to get to 50 likes, and once we get there, we can get started with our first segment of today's show, which is the ton of coaching staff moves that have been made by Jesse Minter, okay? So hit that thumbs up button if you have not yet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, TRBZ, what do you think about a potential DJ Moore or Trey Hendrickson to Baltimore? Not super interested in DJ Moore. Would be interested in Trey Hendrickson for the right price. Can't be too expensive. Just given the fact that he's older and been dealing with some health issues this past year. Like, anytime you got a 30-year-old player dealing with a back issue at that position, I don't love it, okay? So, that's kind of my thoughts on those two. We're at 30 likes. We need 20 more. What's going on, attendance squad? I see Aeroplane. Always nice to catch these lives. How much cap space will we have next year? Great question. We will get into that answer coming up on today's program. You think we bring in a new wide receiver this year, says Jaden. Yes, I do. Either free agency, draft, trade, I do think we will have a new wide receiver in Baltimore. I really do believe that. You're sitting at a pretty good spot, cap space-wise, at $22 million. You're top half of the league at that ranking. What's going on, Kimberly? Good to see ya. Okay, 14 more likes. That is all we need, ladies and gentlemen. Now just 13. Hit that thumbs up button because we got some great content coming for you guys. Multiple staff moves, plus Nnamdi Madubuike injury update. Then my second mock draft with a blockbuster Mark Andrews trade. A little bit of a tease there. Who do we trade with? Who do we pick? How many spots do we move up? You'll have to wait and find that out. And then, of course, our live Ravens mailbag is up last. All right, Gage, are we ready to roll and get into our first segment? All right, let's do it. Multiple staff moves, big moves by Jesse Minter for this coaching staff. All that coming up right now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. My name is Joey Peterson. We have a ton to get into on today's show. Starting up, Ravens make multiple coaching staff moves. Jesse Minter doing a move I like a lot and a move that I don't like too much. Okay, first time I've kind of pushed back on a Jesse Minter decision. I'll let you know what that is. After that, we're going to talk the latest on Nnamdi Madubuike's injury. And then we're going to round out the show with a little bit of A.J. Brown trade rumors. Okay, so stick around if you want to see those. And stick around for daily coverage. If you have not subscribed yet, here's our live sub count. Hit that sub button down below. Let's make that number dance, and let's add at least 35 subs off today's video, so that way you can get to 45,200 subscribers. Jordan Schultz is the one that broke the news this afternoon. Sources, the Ravens will not retain quarterbacks coach T. Martin under the new coaching staff. A massive change, as the well-respected Martin has been in Baltimore since 2021 and is one of the people closest to Lamar Jackson within the organization. I'm not going to lie. I do not love this, okay? I'm not saying I hate it. I'm just saying it's not one of those moves that I necessarily love. Like, it feels like every single step that Jesse Minter's taken, I have been right there with him. I've been cheering him on. I have been saying, look, that's a great move, man. So pumped up about it, and I don't feel that way about this one. And really solely from the Lamar Jackson aspect of things. Lamar Jackson and T. Martin are so close, man. Don't believe me? Just listen to either of them talk about each other. They care about each other so much. T. Martin has been an important part of his development, of his story in the National Football League, of how he's been able to develop as a passer of the football. And I am in the camp of, look, man, let's make Lamar Jackson happy. Now, you don't need a LeBron James him and let him be the GM and let him control this franchise. But I do believe in keeping your franchise quarterback, a two-time MVP winner. I do believe in keeping that guy happy, keep a smile on that guy's face, and I don't know if making this move does that. That's one of my thoughts. The other one is, look, this is Declan Doyle's staff. He's a brand new play caller in the National Football League, and I am under the belief that when you bring in an offensive or defensive coordinator or a new head coach for that matter as well, it is their jobs to fill their staffs out with the people they want to be there. And so I want Declan Doyle to have who Declan Doyle wants to have. I want Jesse Minter to have who Jesse Minter wants to have. But I also want Lamar to have who Lamar wants to have too. Obviously, you can't make everybody happy. But thankful for T for all he did for Lamar, for the Baltimore Ravens. He's been an integral part to the success in this organization over the last 4 seasons. So I am wishing him well. And I want you guys to show some love for him as well by hitting that thumbs up button, liking today's video. Not only is he a Baltimore Raven, he's also a Tennessee Volunteer. So this news is doubly big for me in an unfortunate sense. So show him some love by liking today's video. And some good news on the coaching staff. Sean Callahan is the one who tweeted this one out. Staff update: Nebraska safeties coach Miles Taylor is leaving Nebraska after about a month to rejoin Jesse Minter with the Baltimore Ravens. He will come on to the Ravens as a defensive backs assistant coach. It's been an interesting last decade or so for Miles Taylor. He was a player for the Iowa Hawkeyes for 4 seasons, the safety from 2014 to 2017. He immediately came on as a grad assistant in 2018. Then he came to Baltimore as a defensive intern in 2019. Obviously worked for Jesse Minter during that time, who was the defensive backs coach. Then he became the defensive backs coach for the South Dakota Cougars in 2020 through 2024. Came on as a coaching fellow in 2025, again, for Jesse Minter in Los Angeles. And now they reunite for the 3rd time in Baltimore. Look, I love Jesse Minter stepping up and poaching coaches, even if it is at the collegiate level. I love him saying, look, I want this guy on my staff. And it is not going to stop me, the fact that this guy just signed a contract 1 month ago. I could not care less. I want him. I'm going to go and get him. And if you're mad about this addition, if you're saying, dude, he was a defensive backs coach at South Dakota just a year ago, chill out. He's an assistant, okay? Mike Mickens is your D-back coach. He's the guy who's going to be able to run the ship. Miles Taylor's just there to help him along the way. He's got connections with Minter. He knows how Minters like to have things run, and I think that's a benefit to this team. So now when you look at the offensive coaching staff, they are starting to fill themselves out. Obviously, you still got gaps at wide receiver, quarterbacks, and tight end. The defensive side of the football is starting to fill itself out as well. Really, you just got to fill defensive line and outside linebackers, and after you hired Anthony Weaver yesterday, I would expect those 2 position groups to be filled out sometime soon. But man, I really, really am excited about this staff. And if you are right there with me, spam those me's down below in the comment section. Really think things are starting to come together. Can't wait to see where they go when it comes to quarterbacks coach, defensive line coach, things of that nature. But so far, what they've done, the hiring process, I've really, really liked. All right, let's talk about Nnamdi Madubuike. If you have missed it, Mads has been very, very active on Twitter, which isn't very like him, right? If it was Marlon Humphrey being active on Twitter, like, we wouldn't really even bat an eye. That's just a normal Tuesday. But when it's Nnamdi Madubuike and he's tweeting things out like good news with the prayer hands emojis, this came last Friday. We discussed it a little bit on that show when we talked about, I believe, the Declan Doyle news. That wasn't his only tweet, though, in the last week or so. This one a little bit more recent, a little bit more impactful. This was yesterday. He tweeted out this picture. You're either going to quit or keep going. They both hurt. Choose wisely. Now, we don't necessarily know exactly what he's referring to in either of these tweets. I think we can assume he's probably talking about his injury and his availability for the 2026 season. It feels a little bit like he's a wide receiver, if I'm being honest. Like, does this not sound like a diva first-round pick wide receiver tweeting after the 2nd year where he really doesn't like his quarterback anymore? Like, cryptic, you don't know what's going on. Regardless, I think both those tweets lean to good signs, which I will take that update any single day of the week, because if you remember where we were in late September, you didn't know if Nnamdi Madubuike was going to play a snap again. In fact, John Harbaugh spoke to the media in late September and said to the news conference that he's out for the year, and there are questions whether the neck injury could jeopardize his career as a whole, which was devastating in real time because of how dominant he'd been through the first 2 weeks of the season. But then when you step back and take a further view, you're like, okay, that's devastating for the future of this team, because we knew that Mads is going to be a big part of it. And man, he started hot in 2025. 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 9 quarterback pressures, high quarterback pressure rate for an interior defensive lineman. Having him back in 2026 is going to be massive for Jesse Minter, this Ravens defense, this Ravens team as a whole. I think another thing it adds, like as a benefit, is it impacts draft strategy a little bit. Gives you a little bit more flexibility. You had so many holes to fill if Nnamdi Madubuike was not going to come back. Edge rusher, interior defensive lineman, interior offensive lineman, all being at the top of that list. Now, if Mads comes back, and if he's back for 2026, you still need interior defensive lineman for depth purposes, but it's not as big of a need early in the draft as it is if he wouldn't have come back. You think he plays in 2026? Let me know by giving me a yes or a no down below in the comment section. Weigh in with your answer and tell me what you think. If you want to know what I think about our friends over at Prize Picks, I only think great things because they are the awesome sponsor of today's show. And if you guys did not know, the big game is almost here. And there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. This week, Prize Picks has a special max discount for the big game live in the app now. Drake May just needs one passing yard for the max discount to win. Just to add another player to your lineup, and if your picks hit, you can cash in. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. Here is our lineup with our friends over at Prize Picks. Of course, I took the more on Drake May, half a passing yard. I took the less on Ramondre Stevenson for 50.5 rushing yards. And around this thing out, I went ahead and took the more on Cooper Kupp, 32.5 receiving yards. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. To round out today's show, I thought it'd be fun if we dipped into the rumor mill just a little bit. Derrick Henry was on with Kay Adams today and asked about A.J. Brown potentially being traded to the Ravens. And he said, quote, "We would gladly love to have him," and you are not alone in that, Derek, because I, for one, would love the addition of A.J. Brown as well. I mean, if you just look what he's been able to do over the last 4 seasons in Philadelphia and in Tennessee as well, this dude is an absolute monster. The fact that he got 1,000 yards with a Kevin Patullo run offense where all he did was run hitches all game long is so incredibly impressive. And I think what I love the most about A.J. Brown is his fit with Baltimore and the fact that he gives Lamar Jackson a new type of receiver that he's never had before. A big body, big target, X-receiver, a guy who can beat people vertically but also can win a contested catch and a jump ball if he needs to as well. Money-wise, I don't know how much sense it makes. We'll probably dive into that sometime later throughout this offseason. But if you want the Ravens to take a next step into being a contender, A.J. Brown being added just might be that next step. Should the Ravens trade for A.J. Brown? Give me a T for trade, P for pass down below in the comment section. Weigh in with your answer. And we're going to get on out of here. But I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Follow me on socials, Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Daily Ravens videos right here on the Ravens Rundown. All righty, that's going to do it for segment number 162 people watching. Gage, you know what that means? What do you think it means? If I'm seeing 160 people in the chat.
More people need to hit that thumbs up button.
Amen, Gage. He said more people need to hit that thumbs up button. We need to get to 100, and we need it more than we need anything. Okay? I need it more than I need breath in my lungs. Okay? If you guys have not liked this video yet, we are 37 likes away from 100 likes. So help us out. Hit that thumbs up button. Christian Malley, the birthday boy. Hi to everyone. How much impact the moves that Minter made will have in the new season? Great question, Christian. We will be hitting that on the mailbag. I think they're going to be incredibly impactful. I like a lot of his hires. I like a lot of what he's been able to do so far. So I'll get into that a little bit more in segment 3, but appreciate the €5 super chat and appreciate you. Hope it's a great birthday. And I saw what you sent me on Twitter. Glad you got a little bit of love today as well. Speaking of Mentor, if you think he's doing a great job, man, hit that thumbs up button. Like today's stream. 27 likes away from 100. George Pickens or AJ? Gage, which would you prefer out of those two?
I'll prefer George mainly because of the amount of A.J. Brown drama that's been occurring lately for
Yeah,
the
but
Eagles.
there's a lot of there's a lot of George drama in Pittsburgh.
There is, but George, I feel like, has been a little more. But I feel like he kind of died down a bit in his year with Dallas, though.
I know. My only worry about that is he did that because he knew it was a contract year.
Yeah.
That's my only worry about that. But I think I'd rather have George as well.
I feel like there's more of a ceiling for him.
He's younger, too.
He's younger, yeah.
Like, George Pickens is like 25?
Yeah, whereas AJ's been in the league for
24!
24. He's about my age. And
he is literally younger than me. A.J. Brown's 28, going to be 29 this year.
He's been in the league for 7 years,
Yeah.
A.J. Brown has. So I feel like there's more.
Yeah, so I would rather George Pickens. Rich says, I wonder if Lamar asked about T. Martin. I think almost certainly Minter talked to him about it before they let Martin go. Yeah, I would assume so as well. You don't make a big move like that without talking to Lamar first. That's for sure. Not to get his permission, but just kind of tell you what you're going to be doing. Okay, it's time to get to the mock draft, Gage. Mock draft 2.0. This one with a pretty massive trade. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to do it. Unfortunately, second year in a row we've made this style of video. You'll hear a little bit more, and you'll get a little bit more of what I mean when I say that. All right, ready to roll, Gage? Let's do it. Mock draft 2.0 coming at you right now. You're watching the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. My name is Joey Peterson. It is mock draft season, ladies and gentlemen. This time, mock draft 2.0 with a trade. I'll tell you who exactly that trade is in just a second. But before that, got to remind you about the mock draft 1.0, where we took Vega Ioane with the first-round pick at number 14, then R. Mason Thomas at edge, Julian Neal, cornerback. We hit defensive tackle, tight end, linebacker, wide receiver, DT, running back, and guard again to round this thing out. Really liked how that first mock draft went. I think you're going to like this one better as well. But if you want the Ravens to crush the NFL draft, I need you to do one thing for me. That's hit that thumbs up button and like today's video. All right, let's get into this trade, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be dealing. Actually, real quick. Hey, Gage, do me one big favor. Let's get out of this for a second. Do you mind building? Could you build a way into real quick? Sorry, you guys see a little bit how the sausage is made. I'm gonna script it. Yep, totally forgot that this was coming down then. So, if you could just build that very quick, if you don't mind, thank you. All right, guys, we're gonna start the video from the top a second, but I do want to address the Ravens draft needs. I think offensive line, defensive line is easily 1-2. I think those are interchangeable because I think offensive line is still number one, but you're gonna get better defensive linemen at that point in the first round with the 14th overall pick than you will offensive linemen. So depending how the board falls, I would not be surprised to see them go defensive line. Honestly, given the other mock drafts that we've seen from ESPN, I would not be surprised to see them go wide receiver either if the board falls a certain way. There's 3 really talented wide receivers you're going to be able to snag in the first round. Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate. If one of those 3 guys falls to 14, I'm not saying that the Baltimore Ravens are going to select them. I'm just saying that it is going to be hard to pass either of those players up. So, cornerback, I think they're going to address that probably around 3. Linebacker, I think they'll address that somewhere in the 5th round, I would assume. But I think OL, DL is going to be addressed very, very early. Okay, we got that built, Gage? Perfect. All right. We're going to hit it from the top again. Thank you guys so much for your patience. You ready to roll? All right, let's do it. Coming at you right now. What's going on, Ravens fans? Happy Super Bowl Sunday. My name is Joey Peterson. You are watching the Ravens Rundown. It is mock draft time, ladies and gentlemen. Our second of the season, but this one is going to have a pretty big blockbuster trade. Going to make things very, very interesting and very, very fun. Before we get into the picks, got to remind you, we did our first mock draft last Sunday. We went Vega Ioane, guard out of Penn State with the 14th overall pick. We had R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma in the 2nd round, Julian Neal out of Arkansas in the 3rd, Albert Regis in the 4th, and then we rounded things out with a tight end, linebacker, wide receiver, defensive tackle, running back, and guard Really, really liked those selections. However, I think I like today's a little bit more. Speaking of today, it is the big game, ladies and gentlemen. Super Bowl Sunday. Y'all let me know who you got down below in the comment section by giving me an NE or an SEA. Weigh in with your answer. Who you rocking with today? I think Seahawks win. I think they win big. Before we get into the picks, got to remind you of the Ravens draft needs. I think offensive line, defensive line is 1A and 1B. I could see them realistically going either of those in the first 2 rounds of the draft. Honestly, I could see them hitting both of those in the first 2 rounds of the draft. After that, cornerback, linebacker, and wide receiver, you can make arguments that all 3 of those are the 3rd biggest needs behind offensive line and defensive line. All that to say, you got a lot of holes to fill. However, you're going to be making a big move on draft day, okay? And you are going to be trading Mark Andrews, your 1st-round pick and your 7th-round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs to get their 1st-round pick. So you trade Mark Andrews and a 7th to move up from the 14th spot to the 9th spot because there is a very, very special player available. Before I tell you who that is, I do want to address this trade real quickly. Look, I think you jumped the gun on the Mark Andrews extension, and I think that was a pretty big mistake, okay? Mark Andrews was dead last of tight ends and yards after the catch in 2025. Mark Andrews has hit his ceiling. He is now either plateauing or I believe he's on a downward trajectory. Kansas City, they need tight end help. They need it badly. You could help them get that need, move up in the draft. That way you could fulfill some of your own defense needs in themselves and land an absolute stud, and that is Arvell Reese, linebacker out of Ohio State. That is the reason that you are making this move, because this is a player who is looked at as a top 5 player in this draft, but in this mock, he falls all the way down to 9. And I know what you are thinking. I could read your mind. I've been doing this channel too long to not know. You're saying, Joey, linebacker in the 1st round, in the top 10, that you traded up for, are you crazy? Maybe. But I don't think so. Look, Arvell Reese is like a Kyle Hamilton of linebackers, if you get what I'm saying. He's like Micah Parsons the first year out of college. He's one of those guys, you could put him anywhere. He could rush off the edge if he needs to. He could stand up and play linebacker. He could go into coverage. He's a chess piece. And Jesse Minter, if he had Arvell Reese and Kyle Hamilton on the same defense, would be absolutely drooling. Number 2, sometimes, man, when you get to a player like this, when a player like this falls in your lap, you can't just pass on him. Especially when you could trade away Mark Andrews, sign Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kolar, and kind of fix your tight end problem right there. Like, you've got the fix for Mark Andrews going away already in the building. The stats were very, very kind to Arvell in 2025. 69 nice tackles, 10 tackles lost, 6.5 sacks, 23 pressures, 2 pass breakups. He's one of those guys that is really, really, really talented in coverage as well. Only 189 yards allowed for a linebacker is very, very impressive. Mel Kiper is as high on him as anybody else in this draft. He said this is a complete football player. Reese jumps off the Ohio State tape, playing the game like a veteran. I see natural instincts at the linebacker position that allow him to make plays most guys just can't make. And he has the burst to get home when turned loose as a pass rusher. Reese has been a big riser in this class. If he falls to 9, man, you waste no time in selecting him. Okay? This dude's going to be a star. And I cannot imagine him in this Ravens defense. They'd be very, very lucky to make that move. Maybe that's why I should be hired as the GM. Rate that pick, scale of it 1 to 10 for me down below in the comment section. If you think it's perfect, give me a 10. If you hate it for some reason, go ahead and give me a 1. Let's go to the 2nd round. Pick number 45, Colton Hood, cornerback out of Tennessee. And no, I'm not just biased because I am a Tennessee Volunteer. I think Colton Hood would be an absolute steal late with the 45th overall selection. 50 tackles for the cornerback in 2025, 4.5 for loss, 9 pass breakups, an interception, 2 touchdowns. He was great in coverage, a 51.9% completion percentage when he was targeted, 325 yards allowed, only 1 touchdown. He got flushed into that cornerback 1 spot that he did not expect to be in at Tennessee. He transfers in there. They got Ricky Gibson. They got Jermon McCoy. Then Jermon McCoy tears his ACL. Ricky Gibson tears his labrum in game 1. All of a sudden, Colton Hood's their CB1, and he plays phenomenally. Okay? And the reason I think he could fall out of the first round, out of the top 10 in the second round, because of the size question marks. But, hey, I think you need help in the cornerback room because I don't know if it's a given Marlon Humphrey, given his contract, is on this team in 2026. Let's address offensive line now. How about Jennings Dunker? Offensive lineman out of Iowa, round 3, pick number 80. This is a guy who has been skyrocketing up draft boards after what he was able to do in the Senior Bowl last week. And first off, just looking at the dude, why would you not want this guy on your offensive line? I mean, talk about a quintessential guard, tackle, center, wherever you want to put him. And that's the thing about Jennings, is he played tackle at Iowa, but he is projected to go to the guard spot when it comes to the National Football League. He played on the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line at Iowa. He was a 13-game player this year, last year as well, 80 overall PFF grade. Great pass blocking, great run blocking, only 2 sacks allowed through the entirety of the season. And I get it, you don't need tackle. He's not going to play there, okay? You're going to have Emory Jones as your starting guard, and I think Jennings Dunker would also transition to guard as well. Just because at the NFL level, I don't think they trust him to be on an island with some of these quick edge rushers, but they trust him just because of his physicality, his strength, his natural abilities to be on the inside. Let's talk defensive line now, okay? How about Grayson Holton, defensive tackle out of OU? So in your first 4 rounds, you have a linebacker, edge rusher hybrid, cornerback, offensive lineman, defensive lineman. I think I'm doing good so far, because this dude's been absolutely crushing it at the Senior Bowl as well. He was kind of like the Jennings Dunker on the defensive side of the ball. Very, very impressive. But kind of similarly to Colton Hood, there are some size question marks, which I think is ultimately why he will fall to the 4th round. 6'2", 292, 31 tackles, 3.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. He was chaos up there in the interior for Oklahoma. Big part of the reason that defense was so good, so talented. And I get it. You already kind of got a undersized defensive tackle on the defensive line, and Anais Peebles, drafted last year in the 6th round. But I think Grayson Holton would be a great, great compliment and a great rotational depth piece for Baltimore in 2026. What do you think the Ravens' biggest draft need is? Let me know your answer down below in the comment section. What say you? Give me your answer. If your question is, Joey, where's the coolest merch? I got an answer for you. It's our Minter is Coming t-shirts and hoodies, which are available right now if you go to chatsports.com/Minter. If you like the hoodie, but you know it's going to get a little bit warmer outside over the next couple of months, we got t-shirts available as well. T-shirts are cheaper, only $30. You can buy both of them together and save $10 on your order. Our chief product officer has come in and absolutely crushed it in the merch department. This is the first time we've ever done something like this on this channel. So take advantage of it because we don't know if we're going to continue to do this, okay? Also, next 5 that get one, I'll give you a shout out on Wednesday's live show, okay? Chatsports.com/Minter. That link is in the comments and description of today's video. I think it's time to get a wide receiver with your first pick in the 5th round. And I think you go Ted Hurst, wide receiver out of Georgia State. This is a dude who not many people were talking about coming into this season, but with the size, with the frame, with the speed, running about a 4.4 40-yard dash at 6'3", this dude is incredibly impressive. His last 2 seasons combined for almost 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, 127 catches. And I personally would like to get a guy in Baltimore of that size to give Lamar Jackson something a little bit different, frame-wise. That's going to be Ted Hurst, okay? Really liked what he was able to do at Penn State. The one-on-one contested, or not Penn State, Georgia State, the one-on-one contested catchability is something that jumps off the page if you watch any amount of tape. It'd be a risk, getting somebody from Georgia State in the 5th, but I think it's a risk worth taking. If you trade away Mark Andrews, you're probably going to need another tight end on this roster. So how about Tanner Koziel, tight end out of Houston, round 5, pick number 156. Very productive last 2 seasons for the Cougars this year, especially 65 catches, 651 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He and Connor Wegman had a very, very good connection. Look, I am done with Mark Andrews. That's why I traded him away. I think you can re-sign Likely, re-sign Kohler, draft this guy, boom. There is your draft room. And with Declan Doyle, it's going to be very important to have guys who can both block and catch passes because Declan Doyle uses tight ends kind of as fullbacks in his offensive schemes when they line up in power or I formation. Let's go back to the offensive line. How about Trey Zun III out of Texas A&M? Round 5, pick 172. Yes, you do have 4 picks in the 5th round. 6'6", 319 pounds. Played in 12 games for the Aggies in the 2025 season. Only 1 sack allowed with a 72.25 PFF grade. You need offensive line depth. Tackle, guard, center. You need as many bodies as you can, especially the fact that you're probably going to lose Voorhees and Daniel Fa'alele, which is a good thing, but you need guys to put behind them. Speaking of Koziel, when do you guys think the Ravens should draft a tight end? Let me know your answer down below in the comment section, or should they? Give me a yes or give me a no. 2 more picks left. Let's go to Max Llewellyn, edge rusher out of Iowa. I guess I'm high on the Hawkeyes because this is my 2nd Iowa player drafted. But if you're going to get somebody out of Iowa, might as well do it in the trenches. 23 games played, 9.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He's got really good size. He projects in the National Football League to be a guy who is a solid rotational depth piece for teams for years to come. And I think that's kind of what this team needs. Right? I think maybe you go sign somebody in free agency and you just pick up some guys you believe can be a situational pass rusher like Max. And we're going to round this thing out with another linebacker addition, Lander Barton. I don't know how much longer Roquan Smith is a Baltimore Raven, but his time is going to come rather soon. Sooner rather than later, right? You're going to need guys in this linebacker room after him. I believe in Teddy Buchanan. You obviously added Arvell Reese, but I would not mind adding another player after you suffered so many injuries in that linebacker. 51 tackles, 3.5 sacks, sack and a half, 1 pass breakup. I like the aggression, physicality, and violence that he plays with as well. I think that's something that's going to jump off the page, not just to Jesse Minter, but to your defensive coordinator and Anthony Weaver as well. 2.0, it's done and dusted. Grade it for me down below, A, B, C, D, or F. I traded Mark Andrews to the Chiefs. Then I selected Arvell Reese, Colton Hood, Jennings Dunker, Grayson Halton, Ted Hurst, Tanner Koziel, Trey Zun, Max Llewellyn, Lander Barton. I don't think I could have done better on my first 4 rounds, if I do say so myself. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Make sure you guys got me followed on socials. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Daily videos right here on the Ravens Rundown. Alrighty, that's going to do it for segment number 2. We are 4 likes away from 100 likes on today's show. That is always our goal, is to get there every single time we are live. So I just need 5 more people to hit that thumbs up button like today's video. I feel like that was my best draft yet, if I do say so myself.
I gotta say, these are the fun videos, doing the mock draft ones.
I love mock draft time.
Because it's awesome to see like the different possibilities going forward. I think they're cool to do.
Yeah, it is cool. You know, we're going to step into, heavy free agency stuff probably in the next couple of weeks after the coaching staff gets all rounded out. And then after that, man, it is draft. It's a lot of fun.
You know what I'd like to bring back is the live PFF one.
We do need to do a live PFF one. That was a lot of fun. All right, we did get 100 likes. Gage, how are we doing on questions? Thank you, Bryce. I appreciate you, man. The grades on this one are a lot better. I agree, but hey, in the PFF mock draft I was using, Reese was available at 9. We've seen crazier things in the draft. So, good. So we're all good to go? All righty. Let's get in to the mailbag, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start with a little bit of trade rumors, though, before we get into that. Bleacher Report put out an article talking about top trades. We're going to discuss those, and then we're going to get into your questions. We'll start off with Christian Malley, though, because he did, put in that super chat. Great. Thanks, attendant squad. I appreciate that. Jennings Dunker, man, whoever he lands, wherever he goes, that team is going to be very, very lucky. I think he's going to be a really solid, consistent, long-time player in this league. Would love if the Ravens got him at 3, man. Or not at 3, but Excuse me. In the third round. Future Merchant says as an idea, A, but it seems unrealistic, so I say C. Hey, man, crazier draft things have happened than Arvell Reese following tonight. So, Lamarvelous, good question. We'll answer that one today as well. All right, we got Bleacher Report trade targets, live Ravens mailbag, our last segment of this show. It's going to be a good one. Gage, we ready to roll? All righty, this one coming up for you guys right now. What's going on, Ravens fans? We got a loaded show on today's program. We're going to start off. Bleacher Report gives us 3 Baltimore Ravens trade targets, 3 players they think the Ravens need to look at and discuss trading for in this offseason. We're going to break down who those are and what I think the Ravens should do. After that, we're going to get into our live mailbag right here on the Ravens Rundown. Your questions, my answers, favorite segment every single week. Don't jinx it, though. Do you want the Ravens to make a trade this offseason? If you do, hit that thumbs up button, like today's video. It is in your hands, okay? Don't jinx it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to start taking action, do one big favor. Take some action yourself and like today's show. Starting off first, our Bleacher Report trade target is Javon Hargrave, defensive tackle, last with the Minnesota Vikings. Very, very intriguing discussion right here surrounding Javon Hargrave, a guy who played in 16 games this last year with the Vikings. Had a lot of success, obviously. 52 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of insider info right here. Of the 3 trade targets we're going to discuss on today's video, Javon Hargrave is easily the one I'd be most interested in. Obviously, it depends on that price, but I would be interested. Look, you got Travis Smith in that interior. Nnamdi Madubuike, based on what you've seen on social media over the last week or so, you assume he's going to be able to play in 2026. That's still not a guarantee. After that, you just don't really believe much in this Ravens interior defensive line. In fact, it was a massive, massive weakness in 2025. Adding a guy like Javon Hargrave to help in run defense, get you a little pass rush help every now and then, too, from the inside. Man, I think that'd be a great move. Jesse Minter needs to help the trenches out. That would be one thing to do it. After that, speaking of the trenches, let's talk about Kenny Clark, defensive tackle, formerly with the Dallas Cowboys, or most recently with the Dallas Cowboys, got traded to them for Micah Parsons from Green Bay. And I'm not going to say it was a step back of a season because I think it was better than a season he had in 2024, but he's still waiting to replicate what he was able to do in 2022 and in 2023. What got him that big contract, 7.5 sacks in that season. He's only had 4 sacks in his last 2 combined. I like Kenny Clark. I think Kenny Clark is a good player. However, this move is expensive in multiple ways. Like the first way is it's expensive to trade for Kenny Clark. You're going to have to give up some pretty good assets. Like the Dallas Cowboys are not just going to give you him for a 7th and a 6th round pick. You're going to have to give up some draft capital, maybe a player as well. And then once you get him into town, you're going to have to pay him like a good bit. Got a pretty hefty contract. And so, in my opinion, I look at the Ravens free agents. I see a lot of decently important players. To me, it makes more sense to keep those guys around than to trade draft capital and then sign Kenny Clark to a big contract or have him on a big contract when he has not been playing his best football as of recently. Last, Lucas Van Ness, edge rusher, currently with the Green Bay Packers. Can you tell what Bleacher Report thinks the Ravens' biggest weakness is? 3 defensive linemen. Let's talk about LVN. Well, he played 9 games this last year. Was dealing with some injury stuff. However, I would say it was the best year of his career. 3 tackles for loss in 9 games, a sack and a half, 0 forced fumbles, but 19 tackles for loss. Did play a decent bit of those games without Micah Parsons at the end of the season. But to be honest, I'm not interested really in Lucas Van Ness. I think he showed his true colors. He was a first-round pick in 2023. Everybody wants him to work out, especially there in Green Bay. But, I'm not trading for him, okay? Maybe I sign him if he gets cut next year, once his deal is done. And if he doesn't get signed and he hits free agency, yeah, you can maybe talk me into it then, but I'm not going to trade for Lucas Van Ness. Pick one to trade for those 3 guys. JH, KC, or LVN. Let me know your answer down below in the comment section. If I am you, if I'm watching this video, I will be typing JH, or I would be typing JH because I think Hargrave, out of those threes, is the one that I'm going with. All right, let's get into our questions on today's show. €5 from Christian Malley with the Super Chat. Hi to everyone. How much impact the moves that Minter made will have in the new season? I think they will be incredibly impactful. I think obviously the most impactful move was getting Minter in, but I do think his hiring of Declan Doyle is really, really intriguing. How he's filled out the staff around Doyle. I think him being able to swing Anthony Weaver is great because you got a DC in here that has experience as a play caller, even though he's not going to be calling plays, Anthony Weaver, but also has experience in Jesse Minter's system because that's the same system that he runs. Played for Baltimore, coached in Baltimore, is back in Baltimore. Look, I just think they did a lot of great things with the coaching staff to be excited about. Now, next up is what do you do in free agency? What do you do in the draft? That's ultimately going to decide how this next season goes. Papa Shook. You think the Ravens can finish top 10 in defense and offense next season under this new regime? Yes, I do. Because when you think about Jesse Minter, he has finished top 10 in defense in his last 2 stops with the Los Angeles Chargers. And like personnel-wise, I think they're very, very similar to Baltimore. Both teams have an elite safety, and they've got some good pieces outside of that. I would argue that Kyle Hamilton's a better safety than Derwin James is. But, I don't think you can just outright say the Chargers' defense, personnel-wise, is 10 times better than the Baltimore Ravens is. You can't say that because it's not true. And so if you're top 10, top 5 with LA, I would expect you, especially depending on what you add in free agency in the draft, if you get Nnamdi Madubuike back, I'd expect you to be top 10 defensively. And as long as you have Lamar, Derrick Henry, and with the new play calling of Declan Doyle, I think you're going to be top 10 defensively as well. Something that's in my top 10 of things on this planet is our friends over at Prize Picks, and the big game is almost here. In fact, we are less than 24 hours away from Super Bowl Sunday, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. This week, Prize Picks has a special max discount for the big game live in the app now. Drake May just needs 1 passing yard for the max discount to win. Just add another player to your lineup, and if your picks hit, you can cash in, join millions of users, and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. Here is my lineup for the big game tomorrow. Of course, I did take advantage of that Drake May max discount. I would be silly not to. You would be silly not to. I took the less on Ramondre Stevenson rush yards and give me the more on Cooper Kupp 32.5 receiving yards. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Ice asking a great question. How about Kenyon Sadiq? Man, I would be very interested in Kenyon Sadiq, but I just think you have too many big needs. But man, that dude's a star. That dude's going to be a player. If you trade away Mark Andrews and you have a need at tight end, you could talk me into Kenyon Sadiq. Outside of that, I think you got to go offensive line or defense/defensive line in the first round. Cards rundown coming in. Do you think EDC will sign George Pickens out of free agency? That's if he gets there, right? The Dallas Cowboys can easily franchise tag him, have him back for the 2026 season. But if he does get to free agency, I'm curious to see how the Ravens kind of approach that. My theory is, because the season he just had, it'd probably be a little bit too much money, but man, he would be special. And him and Lamar Jackson together, oh my goodness. It'd be a freak show. Minter Saves Us. Coming up next, how much do you think we'll have to pay Linderbaum to get him back next season? Well, great question. Spotrac projected that his contract is 4 years, $70 million. Gage, should we have the List 10 logo of highest paid centers? I think we should have that somewhat soon, or somewhat close up to the top. So if you do the quick math on that, that's like what? It's $70 million divided by, that's like what, 15? No. $16 million? Just about? 17? That's it. Man. Yep, it's $17 million. Final case in point. Man, I'd be interested in that discussion. I really would. I think that Tyler Linderbaum's a very, very important piece to your offensive line. And I think that, you already have question marks on your guard spots, both of them. I would not like to have a question mark at the center position as well. I do think, though, if you get him to free agency, then he will be gone. You will get outbid. Arrow explained. Joey, always nice to catch these lives. How much cap space will we have next year? Right now, we have $22 million in cap space. That's top half of the league. However, you can do some restructures, some cuts, some extensions, and you could open up a lot more. Like, it would not take the Ravens much to get to $100 million in cap space. So, very, very manipulative. Dylan Bauer, how do you feel about us getting rid of T. Martin? So, this is being filmed on Wednesday, same day that T. Martin was announced to not be retained. I've got mixed opinions. Number one, I hate it because Lamar and him are very, very close, and I am in the camp of keep Lamar Jackson happy. But additionally, I do realize this is Declan Doyle's staff. This is Jesse Minter's team. I want those guys to be able to hire and have on their staff who they want to have there. Jonathan Diaz, Hendrickson is a possible free agent target we could go after, and I think it's a good move because of how young our edge rushers are. And with bringing in more in the draft, we need a vet. Yeah, that's a good move for those reasons. My only, pushback on Trey Hendrickson is the fact that he's a 31-year-old edge rusher that pretty much missed the entirety of last year with back problems. That scares me a little bit. 31 years old, back problems, that position. For what he's probably going to get paid, I don't know, man. I don't love it. I'll be honest. LaMarvelous Miles. Do you think Lamar will consider a lower salary if the Ravens and EDC get him some linemen? No. No. This is the NFL. He's a quarterback. He's a human. Like think about it in your job, LaMarvelous, if you have one. Let's just say you're an accountant, right? And you're on one big tax team. And you got guys who work in audit. You got guys who work in tax. That's like asking somebody on the tax team, hey, would you take a pay cut if we added more guys that are beneficial to the team and the audit side? No, you're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. Do you think the Ravens should trade up for Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame, or Mansour Delaney? No and no. I don't think so. I think they'll probably, if anything, I think the Ravens are going to trade down. I don't think trade up for Jeremiah Love. Sure, it'd be an awesome 1-2 punch, but running back is not a massive top 5 need. Cornerback is a top 3 need, I think, but I think not as big as offensive line or defensive line. Futmer Merchant for our last question of the day. Do you think Chuck Pagano will stay? No, I don't think so. Chuck Pagano was a John Harbaugh hire, John Harbaugh friend, used to be the DC for Baltimore under John Harbaugh. I don't think Chuck Pagano is going to stay around for Jesse Minter. And frankly, I don't think he should. I think Jesse Minter just needs to get all the guys Jesse Minter wants to get in the building. We're going to get out of here, but appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday. We will be back early tomorrow. Going to get that video out before Super Bowl Sunday really gets going. So make sure you have those notifications on. Subscribe. Follow me on socials. And we'll see you next time. All righty. That's going to do it for today's live show. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. A little bit of a quick one. In and out in 54 minutes. Do you think the Ravens pick LT Overton at 14? No. LT Overton's going to be a second-round guy. If they pick him at 14, that would be a massive, massive reach. That's my opinion. What if the Ravens got A.J. Brown and or Max Crosby? If they got them both, that'd be electric. I don't think you can get them both money-wise, but there are some stuff coming out, and I'm probably going to talk about it tomorrow on the show. Max Crosby, I think, it wants out of Vegas. So that is very, 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 very interesting. Okay. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back again live next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. For producer Gage, my name is Joey Peterson. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night, and God bless.